violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
The outrage about the shooting of that baby. Mayor Adams, as you heard, among those attending a vigil at the scene of the shooting in the Bronx in the last hour. The victim, little Catherine, celebrating her birthday in the hospital, recovering from a gunshot. New York cops looking for the gunman they say was trying to shoot someone else Wednesday night.
All right, guys. So we have this super gremlin who shot this 11-month-old baby girl. Cute little girl. And Mayor Eric Adams said, hey, this isn't going to happen again. Like I've said previously, it is going to happen again. It is just a matter of when. And we saw that strike again yesterday when the two police officers were killed. Now, it wasn't a baby who was killed. Arguably, it could be potentially even worse, where one officer is killed, I believe, and one is in critical. So I don't want to say two were killed, but two were shot by a super gremlin responding to a domestic dispute. So, I mean, they're holding the vigil for the child. So I definitely wanted to show you guys that in a follow-up. Maybe we get identification on the suspect. But we all know it's a super gremlin. You can tell by the way that he's busting slack and shooting indiscriminately.
The little girl, a victim of gun insanity. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkin in Bedford Park with our lead story tonight. Newt.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. The vigil has just wrapped up. It went on here in the cold for about an hour. The mayor promising to crack down on gun violence here in New York. The Bronx DA promising to track down the gunman. But the fact is, as you know, detectives need cooperation out here on the street. And so far, sources tell me they're not getting it. On the street corner where the little girl was struck, outrage over the onslaught of gun violence in New York.
So you heard what he said. They're looking for the community to speak up to get some assistance in finding a suspect. But we all know in the black community there is a no snitch policy. It doesn't matter if women are killed. It doesn't matter if a baby is shot. It doesn't matter if your grandma is killed. Black people tend not to cooperate with the police, and therefore our communities are in shambles and in the shape that they are because we live with this no snitch mantra, and you're a rat if you try and cooperate or help the police, even if they're investigating the shooting of an 11-month-old baby. So we pretty much go against our own interests when it comes to making our own community safe, because we say, oh, I'd rather the streets handle that. I'd rather the street justice. Well, what about these people who are not street, who are victims of these crimes? Okay, who's going to work on their behalf? Nobody, especially since we continue to say, hey, we're going to police our own, but we can't even police the super gremlins that are going around terrorizing the community.
We want to stop what's on the street, and damn it, we want to stop it from coming on our streets. Why are there so many guns in our community?
And Mayor Eric Adams is going the wrong route. He's going the wrong route. They continue to blame an inanimate object. See, a firearm is an inanimate object. That firearm cannot release unless the person behind it pulls the trigger, okay? So it doesn't matter if it's guns, bows and arrows, knives, whatever it is, projectile, any type of projectile weapon. It doesn't matter. If a super gremlin has it in his hands, he's gonna kill with it. That's the main issue. That's what you need to be focusing on. Keep blaming the guns, and you're going to get yourself in a situation that you can't come back from. As a matter of fact, you need to go ahead and legalize the guns so law-abiding citizens can defend themselves from these super gremlins.
The child, named Catherine, spent her first birthday undergoing brain surgery today. She was wounded as she and her mother waited in a car outside a deli in the Bronx at 6:45 p.m.
That's not fair. That is absolutely not fair. You got an 11-month-old child undergoing brain surgery. She may never have full cognitive functionality ever in her life. at the beginning of her life, she loses that full cognitive ability because a reckless, soulless, heartless super gremlin is shooting indiscriminately into the streets with no aim and no regard for human life.
Investigators say the bullet was fired by this man, seen on surveillance video, chasing another man and spraying the street with gunfire. Mayor Eric Adams arrived in the Bronx late this afternoon to visit the neighborhood and to reassure the community. But sources tell Eyewitness News that after 2 days, NYPD detectives have received just 2 tips that they need the neighborhood's help in identifying the gunman.
We stand here because the Bronx is on fire. That's right. We stand here because the Bronx is on fire. Yes. But we stand here to say we are going to extinguish that fire.
City
Cap. Extinguish what fire? Okay. You're not going to be able to extinguish the fire because your city council woman, this woman right here, she's an African American. She probably spent most of her career caping for these criminals. Mayor Eric Adams, he's a little different. He has a background in policing, which gives him an edge, but I still don't think he is willing to do what needs to be done. All he's focused on is placating to the Democrats' demands when it comes to COVID-19 protocols and the vaccines and the mandates and all that kind of stuff. He's fine with enforcing that, but when it comes to getting these super gremlins off the street and making sure they stay off the street, he's not so apt to do, okay? The police chief, an African-American woman as well, and although she may have good intentions, it doesn't look like she is equipped to handle or even willing to handle what is really going on, because you keep seeing them displace the blame from the super gremlin to the gun. And until you actually blame the people who are actually doing this, which are these super gremlins, then you are not going to be able to solve this problem.
The Bronx is on fire. That's right. We stand here because the Bronx is on fire. Yes. But we stand here to say we are going to extinguish that fire.
City Council Speaker Adrian Adams was just one of more than 200 political leaders, community activists, and ordinary citizens demanding solutions to the rising tide of shootings that have killed and wounded dozens of people in recent weeks.
This is a state of emergency. This is a crisis and a call to action.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. The borough president is a sister. I guarantee if we go back in the archives, we will see all of these people when the George Floyd situation happened. Defund the police. We need to reimagine policing. We need police reform. We need criminal justice reform. You see, these people are hypocrites. These people are hypocrites, okay? And it's actually pretty frightening because it's almost like they don't even remember chanting defund the police in 2020. It's like all of that has left their minds.
To action and attention. So we can't just be about words, family. We have to be about action.
Bronx DA Darcel Clark.
I'll send a message out to that young man that shot that gun.
And this is the woman who is putting these criminals back on the street, apparently. Okay? We need these prosecutors. We need these DAs on one accord. We need longer, stricter sentencing. F the mental health stuff. We need to throw all that out the window. Forget trying to send social workers to the scene of the crime. It ain't working. Maybe they can talk to a social worker after they're locked up.
On this street, you need to know that we're not going to stop looking for you. We're here for baby Catherine. Today is her 1-year birthday, and she's celebrating it in a hospital room.
Not only is she celebrating it in a hospital room, she's celebrating it in a hospital room, getting brain surgery, life-threatening brain surgery at that.
And moments ago, Ms. Clark made a direct personal appeal for tips, for information. But as we said, to be clear, police...
Sorry, you're in the black community. Not going to happen.
Have received just 2 tips in 2 days. Anybody with information on this is urged to contact the NYPD. You can remain anonymous. You don't have to give your name.
Community also hit by a recent wave of violence. Tonight, there was a vigil held for the baby girl struck in the face by a bullet earlier this week. That baby was supposed to be celebrating her first birthday today. Instead, she's in the hospital.
Dana Arshan has more on the calls for peace that came just hours before these officers were shot.
We want to stop what's on the street, and damn it, we want to stop it from coming on our streets. Why are there so many guns in our community?
It's just crazy to rewatch this, bruh. They literally are blaming the guns. Where is the accountability for these super gremlins on Demon Time?
Despite the bitter cold, Mayor Adams, elected officials, and community members packed together on this corner tonight to hold a vigil for baby Catherine. She underwent brain surgery today for a gunshot wound on her first birthday.
This is the message to you. Turn yourself in. Community.
Lord have mercy. At this point, it's comical. This is a message to you. Turn yourself in. Look, I know tensions are high. I know that it's being revealed that y'all are failing at your job to keep the city safe. But asking a super gremlin to turn himself in is like asking him to leave the streets. I mean, do you even hear what you're saying? You're asking a super gremlin to willingly give himself up for captive for what you guys call slavery, modern day slavery, which is the prison industrial complex, right? You're asking a super gremlin to give himself up to be captured. It's like asking a gazelle not to run from the lion.
If you know who he is, turn him in. Because baby Catherine didn't deserve that, and we're here for her.
The hunt continues for the gunman in this surveillance video from Wednesday night. He's seen running through the streets of the Fordham section of the Bronx, chasing after another man and spraying bullets recklessly. That's when baby Catherine was struck in the face while sitting in a parked car with her mother. A police source tells Fox 5 it appears the 2 men were in a turf war over drugs.
We can't do it if we don't get the help we need on the federal level to go after these gun dealers.
Go after the gun dealers? Oh my God. They just don't get it. It's like we can elect any leader, black leader, and they just cannot connect the dots. I'm 26 years old and I see through the bullshit. Excuse my French. I see what the issue is. It's not the guns. It's not the guns. It's these super gremlins on Demon Time
that are openly selling guns and finding their way into our communities.
Earlier in the day, the mayor, police commissioner, and other officials visited local businesses in this neighborhood, a way to show their presence. While baby Catherine's family, loved ones, and community members pray for a miraculous recovery, a GoFundMe site has been set up to help assist the baby's.
Y'all make sure y'all go hit the GoFundMe, bro. Y'all make sure y'all go hit the GoFundMe. Sad, sad state of affairs, man. Sad, sad state of affairs. I definitely blame the politicians, man, because they still they still don't get it.
Family.
We are hurting for this family. I am thankful that God has spared baby Catherine's life.
We're told baby Catherine remains in the hospital after her brain surgery, and you could see birthday balloons attached to this tree behind me. Police continue their hunt for the gunman and urge anyone in the community who might know anything to speak out. In the Fordham section of the Bronx, I'm Dana Arshan, Fox 5 News.
So you're just listening in to a man who used to live in the Bronx talking about the status of the city right now. We want to reset and let you know what we know at this time about this breaking news. Out in Harlem, New York, 2 officers shot dead in Harlem. According to the NYPD, they confirmed 2 officers were shot near 119th West 135th Street in the NYPD's 32nd precinct, but they didn't immediately release the conditions.
Okay, so I stand corrected. 2 officers were shot and killed. Man. What's up? What's up, Eric Adams, man? I thought you said it wasn't going to happen again. Now they're picking off NYPD. Can you actually start saying, hey, these super gremlins are a problem? If we could just get some honesty, because there needs to be some type of crisis alert on the state of the black community. I mean, there really has to be. Otherwise, the problem is just going to stay persisting as it is.
Of those officers just said that they were rushed to Harlem Hospital. Multiple police sources have told Fox News Digital that both officers have died. The suspect's condition was not immediately clear, but he may have turned the gun on himself. Authorities could not immediately confirm his injuries. So again, Fox News Digital getting from sources that 2 officers have been shot and killed in Harlem. So as you can imagine, the NYPD has shut down these streets, urging travelers to avoid the area. Mayor Eric Adams tweeted that he was heading to the hospital. He's right now at Shabbat services at Central Synagogue, and then he's going to immediately head over to Harlem Hospital.
And I will say, man, Eric Adams is at the scene of a lot of these shootings. Let's see what happens mid-2022. I think he's going to get burnt out. I honestly do. Because there's so many shootings and monumental citywide striking shootings in New York City, and he can't be at all of them, and he can't even be at most of them. Woo! It's feeling a little hopeless.
This is after a string of violence out in New York City, out in the Bronx. On Tuesday, a juvenile rapper allegedly shot a Bronx officer. It became apparent later that he was placed on probation for illegal firearms possession just last month.
Wow, so we got super gremlin rappers who are shooting police officers who are out on probation. They're out on probation. And this is the game. This is what they're doing. They're letting these criminals pretty much go. Putting an ankle monitor on them and letting them fly. This is the work of the district attorney and the prosecutors.
On Wednesday, a gunman's stray bullet tore through the face of an 11-month-old girl sitting in the backseat of her mother's car, also in the Bronx. We were just showing you an update at a vigil from earlier today for that 11-month-old girl. Another city cop has been injured earlier this week, and prior to that, an off-duty officer was shot while sleeping in his car on January 1st.
Woo! Wow.
The violence coming with a series of violent crimes, shootings and murders on the rise in many parts of the country, not only here in New York, also Chicago, Los Angeles, Minneapolis,
Atlanta,
and
Houston, Portland, San Francisco. Should we keep Detroit? Should we keep on going? Memphis, Montgomery, Alabama. It's everywhere.
An uptick in murders in 2021, that's for sure. But here's the latest out of Harlem, New York. 2 officers shot and killed. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll recap everything at the top of the hour. Newest information that we have from our affiliate out there, Fox 5 in New York. As we keep their shot up, this is a live look from outside of Harlem Hospital.
Back to the breaking news out of Harlem. 2 NYPD officers shot when they were responding to a domestic dispute, and one of them has died.
Overnight, the NYPD identified those officers as 27-year-old Wilbert Mora, critically injured, and 22-year-old Officer Jason Rivera, who sat.
So we got a 27-year-old and a 22-year-old young officers. Life taken, man.
Sadly lost his life.
Dozens of officers and firefighters paying their respects outside of Harlem Hospital last night for that fallen officer.
Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis joins us live with new developments from overnight. Marcus, good morning.
Good morning, Michelle and Mike. Tough few days for the NYPD for sure. Domestic calls are among the most dangerous, fraught with challenges and unpredictability for police officers. That's certainly the case yesterday when 2 officers shot, 1 killed in the line of duty. Somber procession at Harlem Hospital as the body of fallen officer Jason Rivera was led out. 22-year-old rookie of the department from Inwood, less than 2 years on the job with the NYPD. His partner, 27-year-old Wilbert Mora, in critical condition. Both officers shot in what police describe as an ambush in an apartment on 135th Street, very close to Harlem Hospital here. A woman called 911 saying she was fighting with her son. There was no mention of weapons. However, after speaking with her, the officers headed to a back bedroom where they came under fire as that door swung open. Both officers hit. The suspect himself was shot by a 3rd officer when that suspect tried to flee the apartment. For this new administration in City Hall, there is anger and frustration at gun violence and calls on Washington to help.
They keep calling it gun violence. I don't see how they continue to blame an inanimate object on these crimes, bro.
I am struggling to find the words to express the tragedy we are enduring. We're mourning and we're angry.
How are we removing thousands of guns off the street and they still find their way into New York City? In the hands of people who are killers.
Doesn't that show that it doesn't matter how many laws that you write to prevent guns from being legal, people are still able to get them. They're still able to get them in the city, so you might as well legalize the guns, give law-abiding citizens a fighting chance. Give law-abiding citizens a fighting chance. And when the super gremlins do something crazy, don't let them out.
Constantly carving highways of death, destroying our communities. We need Washington to join us and act now.
Our hearts are broken. We're in shock. Our knees are buckling. And we're angry.
Well, police did recover a weapon, a .45 caliber Glock automatic with a high-capacity magazine capable of holding 40 rounds. The suspect is identified as 47-year-old Lashawn Mcneil, career criminal, currently on probation on a felony drug charge. He was shot twice, once in the head. He is in critical condition here in the hospital, as is the recovering officer. And we're live in Harlem. Marcus Solis, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.